So, Will, would you rather I buy your lunch today and you owe me 2 lunches next week? Or I buy you lunch, but I get a bite of every one of your orders going forward?
Amy, you are going absolutely nowhere near my olives today. You're not having a single bite. How come you ask?
So that's what we're talking about today. It's all around the different sources of funding. Things like debt versus equity funding, when one might make sense over the other, and the different types of equity funding as well.
So just confirming I'm not in olive debt right now.
No, you're all good.
Lovely stuff. Wonderful. Right, hello my friends and welcome to Working Lunch, the show where we chow down on the challenges of small business owners. This week we're going to be talking funding and we're in safe hands as we have Emma Walsh joining us at the table. With over 15 years experience, Emma is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs secure the funding they need to turn great ideas into reality. Welcome, Emma.
Hello, lovely to be here.
All right, then, Emma, where could a business start with their funding journey?
So one of the first things to think about when you think about funding as a founder is that, there's no one-size-fits-all solution for this. It really comes down to your, I suppose, ambition, really. What's your business model? How do you want to grow this business? And then what's your appetite for ownership and control of your business? You might have an ambition to build a really fast-growing startup that's going to dominate an industry, okay? Or you might have an ambition to build a stable, profitable business that's going to grow steadily over time. Behind that ambition, you also have to have substance. So think about what sort of market are you entering? Is there a lot of competitors? Is it an established market? Is there already, massive businesses there that are, I suppose, dominating the playing field? It's harder to break into markets like that. So you need to think ambition, your substance, the kind of reality of the business that you're building, and put that all together to align with what kind of funding you're going to look for.
Could you just unpack around the differences between debt versus equity?
Of course. So if you think about equity and debt, they're broadly the two kind of categories of funding that you might be considering at the start of your journey. Now, so say, Amy, you and I were to found a business, okay?
I would love that. What would we do?
Don't be too keen, man. Keep your cards close to your chest.
Well, we'd start our business, okay? You and I would be co-founders. We'd each own like 50% of the business.
I reckon you could get 90.
Would check my negotiation skills. So then Will comes in, he's going to invest in our business. Now, he's got the capital, he's going to bring networks, expertise, but ultimately, that 100% of the business that you and I own today, that gets what we call diluted, okay? So we might end up owning, depends on how good we are in negotiating with Will, but we might end up owning 80, 90% of that business. But in exchange for that, we've got capital that we don't have to pay back, and we've got runway and flexibility to grow the business. Now, debt is different. So if you think about debt, you're not giving up any ownership of your business or control necessarily, but you are borrowing money that you're going to have to repay, and usually with interest, okay? And I suppose you really want to think about cash flows. So your future cash flows, the revenues you're going to be bringing in, is your business going to be set up at the stage that you need the money to be able to make those repayments in the future? And are you going to qualify for that kind of funding?
I think definitely keep you out of the negotiation room. I mean, you've touched on it briefly there, but when would you say equity funding could make more sense for a business?
So say you're building a biotech startup or an AI platform, right? You need a lot of money up front to get that up and running. And the payback is in the longer term. So you're bringing investors on board and they're taking that risk, but they're giving you that runway and that flexibility. Debt makes more sense if you're closer to, I suppose, having contracts signed. You can see those revenues, your business is potentially profitable. You can see how you're going to repay that debt. And I think that it's really more about, I suppose, understanding where that cash is going to come from, being comfortable that you can meet those financial obligations going forward.
And what are the trade-offs between the two?
So usually equity funding allows you flexibility, but you can lose some control and ownership of your business. Whereas typically debt, you can retain control of your business, but you are likely to have financial obligations that you need to consider.
Perfect. All right, thank you. All filled in. Now, we do have to let you know it's not usually all this simple on Working Lunch. We do have a bit of a challenge for you if you're down.
Oh.
You'll be fine.
OK, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, quick 30 seconds on funding. If you're thinking about raising investment, preparation is key. our Eagle Labs Entrepreneur Academy features a dedicated raising capital course to help you decide which funding option could be best for you. We also offer specialist mentoring and coaching, real experts who can help you pressure test your plan. And finally, our funding readiness programme is designed to demystify the whole process, so you're not walking into investor meetings guessing what they want. Now, back to the table.
Okay, so this is bittersweet. There's 2 dishes in here, right? We're going to ask you to pick one of those, right? And depending on which one you get, we'll ask you to share an anecdote with us about funding.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, Emma. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Little fruit.
I'm going to go for this one.
Closest to you. Are you sure? 100%.
It's a big decision.
Yeah? Okay. No, looks good, looks good. Oh. Not looking stunning there.
Oh, no.
So I'm assuming that's the bitter one. Could you possibly tell us, like, example of when funding maybe hasn't gone as planned?
So I suppose something I see with businesses, and one particular example kind of springs to mind, is where they're not quite ready. So maybe they've gone out too early and they don't have a clear business model, their financials are incomplete, or they don't have the proof points that are required, but they don't have the success that they want, and it takes them a lot longer, and they kind of burn their energy and resources. So I think what I would say is, you know, it's a really good idea to make sure that you know what market you're serving, you know how your business model works, how you're going to make money. You're very clear on, I suppose, what you're using this funding round for and what success looks like and what time frame.
So Emma, let's talk a little bit around equity options for founders. Can you walk us through the stages of what that equity ladder looks like?
I suppose the equity ladder is sort of a useful concept to think about the different stages that might be relevant for your business. And it's really about who you're raising from, at what stage, and at the right time. At the very start, you might bootstrap your business, okay? And this is where you're using maybe your own money, your own savings, or revenues from the business. So if you've managed to get some customers on board, you're going to use that money to fund your operations. The thing with bootstrapping is it doesn't always allow you to achieve the kind of speed of scale that you might want. So that's when you would start to think about, okay, what are the other equity options available to me?
Perfect. So when you are starting to look into that equity fundraising, would you say that you usually start out looking at angels, friends and family? What's that first step to raising equity?
So typically people would think about friends and family, okay? And this is people that you know and trust, and they've got great belief in you. Usually more about belief than it is about the metrics, okay? And, you know, they're going to give you possibly small amounts of money to get you up and running and to start you on your way, which can be fantastic. But, you know, it is worth thinking about the fact that, you know, you're mixing your personal relationships then with investment.
And then beyond those, we're talking angel investment, we're talking venture capital. What would you say the differences between those two are beyond just money?
So angels typically are bringing that expertise, that network, and they'll have credibility in a certain sector. They're backing, I suppose, vision, they're backing your early team. I think really if you get the right angels on board, this can be a kind of stamp of approval for later stage rounds and make it easier to raise. When you're thinking about the next stage of funding, you're probably thinking about doing a seed round. So this is probably early stage money that you're raising from a fund, so a venture fund. And I guess really this is where I think people are expecting a bit more from you. So this money is typically going to be used for your early hires, maybe your go-to-market testing. I suppose after that, again, sticking with your, I suppose, institutional investors, you're sort of thinking about maybe you're approaching a Series A. Now, when you're going for a Series A, right, this is where you really have to have your milestones, your proof points, and you're convincing people, you know, that this business is going to scale. So it becomes a lot tougher. The percentages of business typically are a lot less. So businesses who've raised seed, we typically see a big drop-off between seed and Series A because it's just that much harder. But then equally, you know, you're going through all that hard work, you're getting, you know, more capital deployed to your business. And if you're able to secure this, then it can help you kind of, I suppose, supercharge that scaling journey.
Definitely use the Barclays demo directory because this is a platform of over 900 investors, so angel networks, venture capitalists, all the way from that pre-seed through to Series A, and utilising us to support the founders with connecting to that right investor. So, Will, we do have an amazing challenge for you. So, I'm going to throw you some statements about funding. I need you to answer whether they are hot or not.
And I'm assuming they're very hot.
They're very hot. So, for every question that you get right, there will be a spice level knocked off of the chicken wing.
Understood. Okay, perfect. And if I get none, it's those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 1, funding your business isn't just how much money you raise, it's when and from who.
Hot. I'm going to say you're a business, you've got a lot of momentum, right? You don't want to be giving away equity, I would say. That you don't have to if you just have a little bit of patience. And who, you want the right people alongside you, right? So I'm going to say, great big mega hot.
What we're saying, Emma?
It's off to a great start. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, you want to think about who you're raising the money from, how they're going to support you on your journey, and do you need to raise again? So
Stunning.
You've been listening.
Statement 2.
Oh, God.
Investors only bring money to the table.
Absolutely not. Angels sometimes bring their network, bit of experience, a bit of know-how.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just sometimes they can be value-add as well.
You're on a roll. They can also support you with advising your business and be a sounding board.
Statement number 3. The funding you take should align with the ambition and strategy for the company.
Oh, 100%. I'm going to go hot.
100% right, yeah.
This one's a bit tricky, I think. So you need equity funding to scale your business.
You don't. I would say with funding, there's no, one size fits all, right? You don't take it if you don't need to, right? Or you maybe do, but no. No, not. Locking in, not.
Absolutely right again, yeah. I mean, and also, as we talked about at the start, it doesn't just have to be equity. You can consider debt. There's other options available for you.
Okay.
You're laughing at this point, aren't you? Last question now.
Yeah, okay.
Debt and equity are tools to accelerate a scaling business, but not a prerequisite.
Not a prerequisite, that's hot, right? Yeah, it's not locked in. It doesn't have to be.
100%. Yes.
I think
Flying colours.
That's great fun. I think in the spirit of working lunch, though, I'm happy to do the hottest one. Okay, we're ready. Stunning. Lovely.
Really?
Absolutely. You not fancy a bit of that?
You got them all right.
No,
So.
OK, that's really kind. Lovely to see you, sir. Really good lunch, I thought we were pals. Emma, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, at the end of every lunch, we ask our guests to leave us a bit of a tip. Give us, say, your single, best insight about funding for anybody, regardless of their business sector or maybe whereabouts they are in their journey.
So it's worth carefully considering who your investors are and who you're taking money from. And does your vision for the company align with theirs? Because you're going to be in a contractual relationship with them. They likely have a seat on your board. So making sure that you're lined up from the start is really important.
It's wonderful stuff. Thank you so much, Emma. Right, my friends, sadly, that is all from us. If you'd like to find out more about the topics that we've discussed, head to the Barclays website, or you can hit subscribe and stay in the loop here as we bring you more working lunches with some wonderful guests. See you next time.